Hey guys, Jennuine Love checking in. I have not done a live video in a very, very long time. I don't think I've done one all of 2020. So, this particular video has been trying to come out for like the last 2 weeks, and I kept resisting it. And I've been trying all day to do it, and I just had to literally give myself a pep talk. Hey, Brianna, to even hit the start button. And my voice is shaking, but nevertheless, I'm here. And this topic has, it's been brewing in my spirit, and I was trying to, avoid coming on and talking about it, and then I started experiencing some really interesting contrast. Hey, Brianna, that was related to this. So I was like, let me go ahead and deliver this message so that this shit can kind of clear up for me. Kind of joking, but kind of not. So anyway, I wanted to title this video, I almost called it, Stop Labeling Everyone Toxic. You know, it's like every time you turn around, you hear, oh, this person's toxic, or, this is toxic. And I feel that there gets to be a broader understanding of some things around what that can look like. And if you see me referring to my notebook, it's because I wrote stuff down so I don't get scattered and go off on a goose chase, which sometimes I do. Anyway, so the goal is to number one, realize that every single person has the ability to exhibit toxic behaviors. Everyone, the people in your yoga class, people in your meditation circle, the people, whatever. We all have the capacity, the ability to exhibit toxic behaviors. No one is immune from that, okay? So the next thing to understand is that a toxic behavior is different than a toxic person, okay? And I'll dive deeper into that. So toxic behaviors can be altered. You can absolutely shift certain behaviors. You can shift so that the toxic reaction, you can learn how to now have a conscious response. And okay, so the thing that you have to understand is that every single person is in a different space spiritually in their healing process. But everybody on the planet, make no mistake about it, everybody on the planet is going through this healing, awakening, life being shaken process. And so that in and of itself can trigger, it can trigger things and reactions. And those reactions can look toxic. They can look toxic. They can come out, in anger and, frustration, and different ways that this comes up to the surface. And what happens is we start labeling everybody as toxic when this happens, because nobody has learned how to be a safe space for themselves. So they numb their own toxic feelings and their toxic behaviors, and they try to ignore it, and they try to pretend that it doesn't exist and that everybody else is toxic and they're the holy one. And that in and of itself is the most toxic mindset that you could ever embrace, right? Because everybody has this capacity to be toxic. And you have to know how to sit with the uncomfortable feeling. So to keep from reacting, to shift from a toxic reaction to a conscious response, it takes focus, and it takes understanding that you have to be committed to allowing yourself to feel whatever it is that's coming up for you that is causing you to feel triggered in order to make you want to act out in a toxic way. And it's not comfortable. If it's uncomfortable enough to make you act out in a toxic way, it's not a comfortable feeling that you want to feel, obviously, right? But you have to find a way to allow yourself to sit with that and sit with the uncomfortability, whatever. I just made up a damn word. Because learning how to sit with that allows it to move through your body. Like just acknowledging that you feel that way allows it to loosen its grip on you, and it allows it to move through your body so that now you can be in a space where you can like receive the clarity and the love and the focus that is your most natural state. It's no sense labeling everyone toxic. It's no sense in that. Yes, there are situations that are toxic. We're not talking about abuse or anything like that. We're talking about just, we're all humans and we're all messy. And I don't care what kind of relationship that you get in, whether you're, gay, straight, or whatever. None of this thing matters. Like, we're all human, and we're messy. We're messy. And we've all been through things, right? So if every time you have some kind of interaction with someone that wasn't pleasant, you just label them as toxic, you're going to be missing out on a lot of beautiful connections. And I would encourage people to learn, number one, how to be a safe space for yourself. When your own shit comes up, are you judgmental of yourself? Are you hard on yourself? Do you make yourself, the victim or the bad guy? Like, how are you treating yourself when these things come up? Because that will tell me a lot about how you're going to be able to treat me when the shit comes up for me. Because inevitably, when you interact with humans in any capacity of a relationship, regardless of how that looks, you're going to deal with mess. It's messy being a human. And so it's not productive to label everybody toxic and bad and unhealthy, right? And again, abuse, we're not talking about that. Definitely leave that out. But not facing your own shit, that's the most toxic behavior of all. Not allowing yourself, not giving yourself permission to feel the things that are coming up for you that don't feel good. Like, it's if you have a wound, right, it doesn't matter. You have to clean it. You have to keep it clean. You have to, nurture it. You can't just ignore it, or it's going to get infected and it's going to get worse. And it's the same thing with this toxic behaviors and things that come up for us. You can't ignore it. You can't numb it. You can't try to stuff it or wish it away or put all your focus on other people thinking that your shit's not ever going to come back up, because it will, and it does. And it's really about compassion for self. So when you have compassion for self, you can have compassion for others, and there, this is real, there are so many times that I can't speak about anybody but myself, and I use myself for an example because, hey, it's my life, I can talk about it. But I have had some really interesting moments of contrast that triggered me to respond in toxic ways. Straight up. And you would be like, well, that's not very genuine love, but it was fucking authentic, right? It was authentic, and it was what I knew to do. And that's why I encourage, self-love, obviously, but meditating and learning different ways to soothe yourself, because you are with you always, period. And you're gonna get triggered. You're gonna get triggered in life. And you can say, oh, well, it's this person, and as soon as I'm out, and I'm not with this person, or I'm not at this job, or I'm not here, like, you think that all your triggers are going to go away. No, that, like, you're always going to be triggered. Like, it's human. You're a human here on earth. Shit's going to trigger you, period, end of story. It is what it is. But it's what we learn to do when we feel the trigger, and when our buttons are getting pushed, so to speak. Like, you don't have to react. You don't have to react from that space. In fact, it's, guaranteed to blow up if you do that. But learning how to come to a space where you can respond, like you're consciously choosing your response. Because when you're triggered, oh, you are so not consciously choosing your response. You are fucking reacting. You are in fight or flight. You are, I'll get you before you get me. You are not thinking this thing through. You are just acting, reacting. So that's why it's good to take the deep breaths, because even in the like, when you feel triggered, that is the time to chill out. Like, that's the time to pause. That's the time to take a deep breath. And it's not, maybe you can't, then that's the time to walk away, to go do those things. You have to learn how to self-soothe, because if you don't, you're always going to be responding. You're always going to be reacting to the things that are outside of you. And if it's not this, it'll be that. And if it's not that, it'll be that. There's always going to be something. And we have to learn how to have compassion for ourselves, and we have to learn how to share that compassion with others, because it's 2020 for one. Like, need I say more? If that was all we brought to the table was have compassion because it's 2020, that would fucking be enough. But I'm saying, like, every single person that you meet, that you come into contact with, they have had a hell of a journey. And everybody on the planet right now, everybody on the planet is going through so much upheaval and change, and a lot of it's good and a lot of it's not good, and a lot of it feels good and a lot of it feels bad. And learning how to have human compassion will take us where we want to go on this planet. It will take us where we want to go individually. And I just really want to encourage you to learn how to be a witness of your own thoughts, of your own feelings. Like, learn how to witness that without judging it, without numbing it, without trying to make it wrong. and the more that we learn how to do that for ourselves, the easier it is to sit with people who may very well be acting in a toxic manner. Again, toxic behavior is not the same as a toxic person. Behaviors can change, with awareness. So when you are able to be that safe space for yourself, then you're able to be that safe space for others. Now this person who is experiencing some sort of meltdown, you want to call it, or some sort of toxic display, when you're able to hold your peace and you're able to see that person from the eyes of God, the eyes of Source, able to see them as love, you can help. It's not your job to change them, never, ever, ever, but you can help create an environment for that change to occur, and that's really what I wish for all of humanity, that we would learn how to hold each other in love, through the good times and the bad, really, really, that's one of my deepest prayers. And in order to do that, you have to know how to sit with yourself. And we all have the capacity to act out in toxic ways. None of us are above this. None of us. So learning how to feel what we need to feel and move through that, that's the most healthy, loving thing that we could do for ourselves, for our planet, for all of our relationships, and that's what I wanted to share. Let me just make sure I look at all my notes. So healing modalities, toxic behaviors can change. If someone can be triggered and act out in a toxic way, and learn, okay, when I feel triggered and I react, this is what happens. This doesn't feel good. I don't like this. So now when you're consciously aware, now you can allow yourself to, like I said, when you feel a feeling, sit with it. Don't try to numb it or make it bad or make it wrong. Now you have the ability to learn from it, and when you get curious about it and you sit with it, it loses its power, number one. Number two, you take deep breaths. Now you're able to respond consciously. You're not reacting from that triggered space, which is never good. Trust me. Just take my word. Never good to react from a triggered space, ever. Never a good idea. Ever, ever, ever. Always a good idea to allow yourself to come back to center. Deep breaths are the fastest, easiest way, because you always have your breath, right? So that's all I wanted to share. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry I didn't say hey as you guys popped on. It's very nerve-wracking for me to do these videos, and I don't like to get sidetracked. Thank you. So, if anybody has any questions, just pop them in the comment. I'll answer them as I go. Love you guys. So good to see y'all. I see some of my favorites on here. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and I will see y'all next time. Namaste.